Good morning, my beautiful friends. It is Holy Week, so this is an important time in the Christian church. If you're not Christian, that's okay. This channel is for everybody. But it's a week of reflection, and it's a week of preparation. So all of Lent, if you honor Christianity, all of Lent is preparing for this week, which is the culmination of the activities that crucify Christ, and then Christ rises again, which is what makes Christians Christian, right? So that a guy was crucified and killed, that isn't really what makes us Christian. The part that makes us Christian is that he rose again on Sunday. So this is an important week. But that's what I'm here to talk about. But kind of, but not. So if you don't believe in the Christian tradition, that's okay. Lots of different traditions have traditions or histories or ideologies or mythologies or practices that relate to somebody being wrongfully accused, and then things coming around and people going, oh, that was true. Right? So that's not unique to Christianity, but that's not what I'm here to talk about. I'm here to talk about sisterhood with you. So many years ago, when I was a wee tot, my mother, Karen, was very, very involved in the Scottish Society in our local community, and she was all about it. And of course, my brother and I played bagpipes, so we were all about it as a family, and we did lots and lots of Scottish things. And then you grow up, and my brother got married, I moved away, and you kind of get away from it as a young adult. And then when I moved back here in 2019, my mother had already passed. My father had passed as well. I have one brother that I'm close to in his family, and we're all still very interested in Scottish culture. So I thought, I'm gonna join the Scottish Society again. Nobody remembered my mother because 30 years had passed, right? So I joined the Scottish Society again that she had been a part of. And I met, all amazing people, just amazing people who are my good friends, and I enjoy being with them, and I do lots of things with them. And this one woman who I didn't know, who is about my mother's age, and I don't think my mom I don't think my mom knew her. In fact, I'm sure she didn't, because this Babs didn't live here when my mom was in the Scottish Society. She lived somewhere else. So she would have loved Babs. They would have been besties, because they're a lot alike, and very passionate about Scottish culture. And anyway, Babs is very involved in this thing called Daughters of Scotia. And I'm going to put a link below in case this is interesting for you, because it's all over the country. And really, like, it was hard for me to figure out what it was, because Babs was trying to tell me to, I should join this, and I'm like, is this a cult? Are we sacrificing virgins? What are we doing here? Blood oaths? What? It is very innocently not that. It is a sorority, an adult sorority for women 16 and up who are interested in Scottish culture and want to preserve it and share it with the world. So you don't have to be Scottish to join it. I'm interested in all cultures, but you don't have to be Scottish to join this one. You just have to be older than 16. And it was started in the late 1800s by some women. It's a great story, actually. And apparently there's a history book, so I can't wait to read that. But from what I can gather, so basically there was a men's group, a Scottish men's group, a Klansman group. Now, there are Masons, right? And there are Scottish Masons that run out of the Scottish Rite group. But this is not them, right? This is not that group. These are men who, like the Masons, wanted to provide insurance for like work insurance, like life benefits, because at the time employers didn't do that. So there weren't death benefits if you got hurt on the job. So they wanted to create a society where they would come together and celebrate their culture, and then upon their passing, there would be some money given to the wives. And these groups, just like the Masons, have a women's auxiliary group called Eastern Star. This group, the Clans Association, their auxiliary group was the predecessor to Daughters of Scotia, or maybe it was even called Daughters of Scotia. I don't know. But anyway, the men's group did not survive. The women's group, however, has been strong since the late 1800s, and the traditions of it and the ceremonies and everything are the same today as they were in the late 1800s. So it is so different, because it's so different than what we do, in modern life. But when you think about it, it's really cool that something like this has existed for so long. And so Babs is really involved in this, and I think she looked at me and was like, that girl's a doer. Let's get her involved. So, she convinced me to join, and I joined a lodge in New Jersey because that was the closest one, but it's 2.5 hours for me. So, and they meet on a Monday night, and I work on a Tuesday morning. So it's like, that was just a hike. But in order for me to start a lodge here locally to us, I needed to be a member of another lodge. So I went to that lodge and became a member of that one with the very transparent, goal of starting a lodge here in Pennsylvania. And so this past weekend, we were officially installed as a lodge here in eastern Pennsylvania, the Keystone Thistle Lodge. And it is an amazing group of women from all ages, too. So a lot of the lodges are the members are a little bit older, right? And unfortunately, over the course of history, some lodges have fallen away because they just don't have enough members to keep it going. But our lodge is a mixture of ages, ranging from very young, to older. So they're the girls, the women, I don't want to call them girls, the women that are involved are just passionate and creative, and they're nice people. And I didn't have sisters growing up. My mother didn't have sisters, and my dad had a sister, but she was way older than him and lived far away. So I didn't have female cousins nearby, and I didn't have girls in my neighborhood. There were 2 girls, but they weren't ever allowed to play. So I grew up with boys, so I never had a sisterhood. So I'm so excited. It really was eye-opening this weekend, because for the installation, all of these women, there's the national organization and then all these little lodges. All of these women from the national organization come, and it is just tremendous. And when you have a gaggle of women together, like I wasn't there. My college had a service sorority, but I had transferred into my college, so I never joined that. And at the time, I was like, I don't know about that kind of nonsense. I'm not a joiner of cults and things like that. But I will say that this is not like that. This is it's a service group, and really we have our meeting, which is in the style of how the women started it in the late 1800s, and then that's private, and there's all kinds of things that I don't get to talk about with you, but if you join, I can talk about it with you. But then there's an open meeting and things that are open to the public, and then we have cake and tea afterwards. We have like a social hour, and that's awesome, right? I mean, who doesn't want tea and cake? And really, I will say, like, you don't have to be Christian. There are some Christian prayers that are involved, but you don't have to be Christian to be part of it. You can be Jewish, you can be agnostic, you could be Wiccan. We actually, I think, have a few Wiccans in our lodge. You can be whatever it is you are. The tie that binds is this love and passion for Scottish culture and preserving its traditions. So there are different roles throughout the lodge, and there's a bunch of officers. I think there are 12 officers, and then like the head one is the chief daughter, which by grace, the people in this lodge elected me to be the chief daughter. And I'm so excited to do that, because it's really I think it's really amazing to have something that's been passed down through the generations, and and documented, right, and then something that you get to pass down. And in my remarks that I gave at the installation, there's a toast that I think I've shared this before, but the toast goes, blessings to all who came before, and blessings to all who will come after, and blessings to all with whom we stand. And then in Gaelic, you would say Slán Siva if we're going to have a toast. And then I didn't do the Gaelic version of that, but that's the English version. And I think about, even in our lodge. So Babs, her mother was a member of Daughters of Scotia, and then she was a member, and her daughter's a member, and her granddaughter's a member, and I think maybe the great-grandmothers, 5 generations, however that worked out. Oh, I'm not good at math. But and that's people that we know. So if you think back, hand to hand to hand to hand of the women and generations that have been part of Daughters of Scotia since it started, I mean, that's pretty amazing, right? It's pretty amazing that something like that has lasted. And there's all kinds of other fraternal organizations. I know there's the Moose, and they're different. There are different fraternal organizations that exist, but this one is really underpins my culture and what I like to celebrate. And I really think that sisterhood and brotherhood too. I mean, I'm going to talk about sisterhood because I'm a girl, but I think these sentiments apply to men's groups too. I think it's really interesting and rich and vibrant to have a single gender community to be part of, because like I said, I didn't have sisters. I didn't, and it was interesting as we were doing the practicing and all this stuff with this big gaggle of women. I don't think I've ever been in a place. Girl Scout camp, I guess that was all women, and that's all women. So I guess I'm in other spaces with mostly women, but it's just really interesting, and there's, I don't know how to explain it. It's cool. It's cool to be in a group of just women. Nobody's there to impress the guys. The guys aren't there giving orders to the girls. It's just, it's great to be among sisters and to share a love and passion for something. And I know many in the spiritual community are in women's groups, and I know I had my YouTube channel a very long time, and I've used it for all kinds of different things. But for a while I was part of a sisterhood, and it was so meaningful and so it really was enriching and valuable, during a time when I had it. And of course, they don't always last, right? They sometimes fade away, or they morph into something else, as was the case with that. But I don't regret, having been a part of that sisterhood for even just a brief moment. I think those women are tremendous women, spiritual practitioners, and have so much to offer the spiritual community, and I wish all of them the best, and I'm grateful for the roles that they played in my life, no matter how it worked out in the end. So I think if you have the opportunity to join, something that is meaningful to you, for me, Daughters of Scotia is very meaningful because it connects me to my ancestors and to my heritage and to my culture. If you have, an opportunity to participate in something like that wherever you are, give it a try. Check it out. Think about it. Learning about it doesn't mean you have to join it, right? So I'm going to leave a link to Daughters of Scotia below. There are chapters all over the country and Canada. It is North American only, but I am sure there are other female groups in other countries as well, because I know I have a lot of international viewers. But I really think it's worthwhile to check out, and I'm really glad that I didn't brush off Babs when she talked about it, because that was my first inclination. Like, I'm too busy, and I don't know about this. I don't know if it's all girl things. I'm in pipe bands. I'm usually the only girl. Like, I'm used to being the only girl and stuff. I'm glad I didn't poo-poo the idea. I'm glad that I checked it out, because this weekend was absolutely beautiful. And I'm looking forward to our convention in September, and really being with this larger group of women, and of course the smaller group in my lodge. So I really do think that it's worth exploring if you have the opportunity. So as you head into Easter week, think about the community in which you belong. Christ's death made a community for me in Christianity, and other world traditions and religions have communities. Think about the places that you can connect with other humans to honor the things that you believe in. I am wishing all of you the very best and brightest. If you celebrate Easter, happy Easter. Be well. Take care. Bye-bye.